Well, our moms think we're funny.
Hey everybody, this is Turk182.
And I'm Acomi.
What's going on, Acomi?
I'm eating a lemon ball.
Ooh. I don't know why I oohed that, because I really don't, I don't really have any place to take that, but hey.
A lemon head.
Awesome.
It's lemon head. I don't have balls in my mouth. There's a lemon head.
Yeah. I'm
a professional podcaster.
You podcast real fine there, Acomi. I bought those, and then a whole well, it wasn't a bag full. It was a bag full, but like a whole case of Zots, because I love Zots. If those of you out there who've never had a Zot and you're like, what's a Zot? Zots are delicious. Yeah, I do love me some Zots, yo.
They're like warheads, but not sour.
Yeah, and they got like fizzy stuff inside of them. Yeah. So yeah, I love Zots. They used to make these things. I think I may have said this in the other podcast episode where they used to make these things called Zot bombs, which are these bigger versions of them. Now they weren't as filled with. They had more candy coating outside than they had like fizzy stuff inside, but they were still good.
Yeah.
Today though I wanted to talk about kind of following up on a previous episode that we kind of talked about some things, but I wanted to talk about the continued adventures of the continued misconception of the differences between men and women.
Yeah.
And
I just finished my ball, so
cool. And the reason I bring this up is because I kind of find this whole thing fascinating, especially as well. This is like Women's Month, though, isn't it? Like, well, as we're recording this is Women's Month.
I mean, it's March as we're recording this. Is that Women's Month?
I believe it is. I think that's what I was told. Yeah. So,
do you believe everything women tell you, Turk?
I pretend that I do, because sometimes that's the best way to keep from getting in trouble. But it was this whole thing about like everyone wants to make a big deal about men and women being so different, like men are from Mars, women from whatever it is. They like but just because you're of the opposite sex doesn't really make you different. It's like that'd be like saying, okay, like me and like as a straight guy, what's the term they use for straight? They don't say straight anymore. Like the gay communities use. What they call it? Like basic? No, that's not it. But they like non something or whatever. Anyway, I don't know. I don't really give a shit.
They still use straight. I don't know.
There's actually another term they also use as well. But I don't care.
I know when you're not trans, they call you cis, but
that's it. That's what I'm thinking.
But that doesn't have to do with whether you're like straight or gay. It's just if you're not trans.
What's cis stand for? Sissy?
Cisgender.
Cisgender. What's it? How's that? Cisgender?
Yeah. CIS gender.
I don't get the cis part though.
I don't know like the etymology of the word, but
oh, excuse me with your fucking big words. The etymology of the words. Sorry, I don't know what insects the words came from either. Anyway, but so like that'd be saying like me as a straight guy, like I'm completely different from a gay guy. But like, why? Just because we like different, like we're attracted to different like genders? Like not really. I mean, we can still like all the same stuff. And then if you follow that logic there, then that means that I would have a lot in common with a lesbian. I mean, like neither one of us would do a guy. Right? And so, so already it's like, and we probably would like the same girls. Honestly. Huh?
Let's see. Well, I'm just trying to think about like how I might compare to a lesbian.
To be honest, like, if like the conversation you want to have with a like your girlfriend or whatever, but like, you're like, dude, I think she's hot, man. It's like, she's like she'd be hot if she had bigger tits, or like, like, man, like I like how short she is. Like, you can't have those with your girlfriend because your girlfriend is going to look and be like, oh, all the thing I hear is like, I wish you look like this. I wish you look like that.
Yeah.
But if you had like a really cool like lesbian friend, like best friend, be like, dude, she's hot. She is hot. And it was like, oh man, it's like, if her tits were just a little bit bigger, no, I like them like that.
Kind of my relationship with my trainer at my gym, actually.
What?
Yeah, she's a lesbian and she's totally fine with like checking chicks out. Now we don't go into like that kind of detail with stuff, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, she has like pointed out to me and Camelot. She'd be like, "Hey, did you guys see that brunette over there doing squats? Damn!" So she's fun.
So I'm just gonna tell you this right now. If she says like, "Hey, it's like, which one of us do you think has a better chance of going out with her? You want to make a bet? Don't take the bet. Don't take the bet. Because you've already lost. Like, she knows whether or not that girl is gay or straight. You have no idea. You have lost that bet.
I've got a terrible gaydar. I will openly admit it. I lived with a gay man for a year and didn't know he was gay.
I mean, but see, I think that's okay though, because my biggest thing that right now is that not my biggest thing, but the thing is that I don't care. It's not my business to know. If you want to tell me, that's fine, but I don't need to know because it's not really my business.
Well, the only time that it really affects me is if I'm asking a girl out and she happens to be gay.
Right.
So, I mean, having a decent gaydar would be useful then.
But you know what, though? I think it's okay to ask somebody out and then be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm or not, I'm sorry, but like, yeah, well, I'm gay. Be like, okay, cool. But you shouldn't be offended if somebody asks you out, like, I'm gay? But like, okay, how the fuck was I supposed to know? It's like, I didn't see the big gay tattoo on your forehead. It's like, you didn't wear your wristband, so I mean, how was I supposed to know? I mean, some people get offended, like, how dare you? Like, how dare what?
Yeah.
How dare I say that not only do I find you attractive, but you seem like a decent enough person that I would want to spend some time with? Like,
right, yeah.
Oh, just forgive me. And it's like, forgive me for not thinking you're a complete asshole. I mean, obviously you are, but I didn't know that at the time. But no, this whole like idea of like men and women are so much different from one another, regardless of like gay, straight, or I'm like, they're not really. But I think what really, in my mind, they're not really that different. But I think what makes them different is that, and I know it's going to sound weird, like, like society and the media are trying to make them different. But, just like how back in the 60s, when they started like saying that blue is a boy color and pink is a girl color.
Yeah,
and they started like separating like the dolls and being like, okay, so only the boy dolls can wear blue and like only that kind of stuff, to where now it's like, okay, now we can't do that. It's like no, why would you wear something like that? Why would you do that?
And I've gotten a lot of harassment for wearing as much pink as I do because of that shit. So fuck the 60s.
So I think it's also with the point where they started making like the magazines, they started being like, oh, if you want to be a good wife or a good girlfriend, you have to you do this. And like, men, if you're going to be like if you're going to show you're a man, you need to act like this and do this kind of thing. And I think we're into the point where we're starting to like break out of that, but people don't realize that this wasn't something that was kind of like indoctrinated into us, like like where it didn't exist. It hasn't existed always. It was just kind of like brought in the same way that they started like saying, oh, Valentine's Day, you've got we just created this day, and like, what women love, jewelry and chocolate. But like, my girlfriend never said anything about wanting chocolate or liking chocolate or even wanting jewelry before. But if the magazine says that that's what she wants, okay. Yep. And then she's like, I don't give a shit about jewelry and chocolate. And then next year's like, where's my jewelry and chocolate? Be like,
there it is.
So I think that they've slowly started to do this thing like to separate them, men and women, not because of like some kind of ulterior motive of like, that's how we control them, but as just a commercialization of marketing things. Like if we call everybody equal, then I just make one thing. But if I say that, oh, no, like you men and women are so much different and they require different things, not based upon like, like their body and that kind of stuff and physique, but like they require different things just because of their personality and character. Because
Right,
she's a
right.
woman, she thinks this way. That now I can make the same product, but I can make one like this and one like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've never looked it up before because I've
Like
never really,
razors.
huh?
Like razors.
I was about to bring that up. I never looked it up before because, one, I don't own a razor, and I've just never had to. But yeah, supposedly women's razors are more expensive than men's razors, even though the exact same razor, they just color one pink.
Yep.
I'm like, well, why? But it goes back to that whole, we have to make it seem like the two of you are so much different than what you are that I'm going to sell you the exact same razor and I'm going to make yours more expensive, and it makes this one's more contoured for women, right? But I mean, like that's like saying, okay, so this one you use in your face, this one you using your legs, and this one you use on your no, not like I can this one razor. It's the same type of hair. I mean, I can just cut, right? I mean, like so. No, why? I mean, why? Well, because by doing that, I can sell you more shit and make it seem like it's tailored to you.
Yep.
When really, I'm just selling you more shit to make more money.
I
So
mean,
now you own
that's-
3 of the same thing. You don't realize it.
Yeah, that's literally the only reason it became a thing, was that they were like, wait a minute, we can double our sales. Hey,
Yeah.
ladies, get rid of the unsightly leg hair.
Now that I do agree
Oh,
with.
I'm totally fine with. Yeah.
Yeah, that European method's got to go. I'm not down with that.
Yeah, no, I fully support shaving whatever bits you need to.
I know it's more information anybody wants to hear from me, but I think I've shared so much information you didn't want to hear from me. But right now, you just got to take it as a given. Like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. So, from the neck down, it's no hair. That's it. Just from the neck down.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So,
I definitely prefer that.
yeah. I mean, obviously a little bit of hair on the arms. I mean, that's natural and stuff. But yeah. Okay. So make a T pose, and then from the collarbone down, no hair.
So you're saying you don't endorse hairy nipples?
No.
Well,
Because
you really thought about that one.
Okay.
I appreciate you really like putting in some thought into that.
I think I told you this once before. Like, there was what was the thing? Like, whether or not a woman is clean shaven down there. I'm like, man, I don't care. When I go to town or anything, I'm like, I don't care. Like, if it's down there, like, dude, I'm getting to go to town, right? Like, I don't care. Until, like, if you've ever had a hair in your mouth, whether it was like one, like, from like your head, your eyelash, like that guy in your mouth, it feels like something like 8 times the size of it. It doesn't feel like a tiny little hair in your mouth. You feel like you got like a piece of a tree branch in your mouth. Like, oh my god, what's this big ass thing in my mouth? Like, oh, and then of course you can't find it because it's like a small ass like eyelash hair. But it feels like you're something like really. I'm like, oh god, oh.
I mean, I think I could deal with that a bit easier than I could like getting a hair in my eye.
Yeah, that I don't like.
So that would really suck.
Yeah, I told you before about when I would lose a contact lens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that grosses you out. And the hair in the eye is kind of the same thing. Only
Yeah.
it's so much harder to find that I don't know where it is until it like just pokes itself out.
So yeah.
So it's the idea of the like what really makes us different. So if you and I'm going to ask our listeners who I'm asking them, I'm not going to really get an answer back, but I'm going to ask you, maybe just ask yourself, like, what do you really see as the big difference? So, because for those of you that are in a relationship, whether you're engaged, married, single, or girlfriend or whatever, for those of you in our relationship or have been in one, like, why were you in a relationship to begin with that person? Well, because we had so much in common. I mean, it's because you have so much in common, and then it's like, well, that's like what attracted, what kept you guys there, what keeps you together, because you still have like things in common. So what really is it that makes them so much different from you that has nothing to do with their physical appearance?
Yeah.
Nothing really. I mean, when you find a person that you that you like, and you get involved with, like one of the things that you want, so you want them to be somewhat equal to you in a lot of ways, or you want them to be, at least if they're not equal to you, like you want them to be comparable to you.
Yeah.
So
complimentary to you.
thank you, complimentary to you. I appreciate that. Like so, and when I say equal to, like I want us to be on the same, like I don't know, intellectual like level, to where we can both enjoy the same things. Like I don't want to be listening to, like, watching Frasier and laugh my ass off, and you're like, what's he talking about?
Yeah.
It's like
I don't want to feel lesser for pursuing my interests.
right. And it's also, you want that person to also kind of be the one that's gonna like make you do things that you normally wouldn't do, that you would probably find fun, that you normally wouldn't do, or if you would like to do them, but you don't have that person that kind of like make you do it, you know. So you want to find that right balance of person. So that's what makes any kind of couple, whether they're straight, whatever. And I'm not saying whatever be dismissive, but I don't feel like I need to like run down the whole gamut of possible combinations of hooking up, and because I'm going to eventually leave out somebody. But what about us in like triangle relationships? Okay, guy and two girls. What about the girl? Two guys. I mean, those two. Like So, but
yeah, we'll never get through the podcast if we try to do that.
Yeah. So, but like, what really makes them so much different that we have to say women and men are so much different? We think so much differently. No, not really. Some of the ways that we do think differently, though, again, it's going to go back to that whole marketing thing that says you need to think and behave in this way because I want to sell you these kind of products. And that's really what it boils down to. I want to sell you these kind of products, so you have to behave in this kind of way.
Yep.
Which also kind of like lends itself to the to like the whole idea when a woman takes an interest in something that men have like, I guess, dominated. So let's take, for example, the one of the fields we like. You can take to video games and comic books.
Yeah.
When we see that there's a girl, I'm gonna say girl because that's just a typical word. I mean, that to mean that like, you're a girl, you're lesser than me because you have the mentality of like someone that's not quite a woman yet. Just girl, women. It's like called guys, dudes, or guys. So anyway, just get off my ass, all right?
We call guys boys sometimes.
Yeah.
We say it's my boy Nick Cage.
That's right, my boy Nick Cage, my boy Kanye. So, with that, when a girl is interested in comic books, right, I don't treat her any differently than I treat a guy. I question them the same way that I question a guy, which is like, okay, are you a real comic person or are you a fake comic person that has watched some cartoons and watched some movies and thinks you know some shit?
Right.
Because that's really the deciding factor on how I'm going to, treat you, as far as like conversation goes, and if we're gonna have like a really good conversation, like a valid conversation, not. So if you start talking about blah blah blah, and then Wolverine, or like, so first off, if you call Deadpool a mutant, you're out. I don't care. It's like, if you don't know Deadpool's not a mutant, obviously we can't have a conversation.
Right.
If you say certain things, it's like only Captain America can lift Thor's hammer. No one else has ever lifted it. The other ones tried and they couldn't. Like, no. I know to keep our conversation at a very basic level, which is, oh yeah, really? Cool. No, I didn't know that.
Right.
I am not going to engage you in any way because
you were kidding.
Because you don't deserve it. But again, that goes for both men and women. Like, if you're a woman that comes in there, and I will say though, I am more shocked than I should be when there's a woman or girl that is interested in comic books and has some like comic book knowledge, because it's so rare.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't want to see it. It's just because I'm not used to seeing it. So I don't treat it as a novelty, but I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Also because it's always for us, it's always been the stigma of like, look at the little, like the immature, like comic book nerds. Why don't you grow up? Why don't you just be real, like, play football or something?
Right.
I say, don't you like to wrestle? Don't you want to watch two guys in your underwear hug each other? Right? It's like, you say you're going to read those stupid girly comic books, like, okay, no, sure, whatever. So when you see like and she's not reading like some like it's just gonna sound so dismissive, but some girly like independent comic book, like
Thanks, Turk.
which is fine, but I'm like that's
I know what you mean. Yeah, I would have said like manga.
manga I'm okay with, but yeah, I think there's a larger like female readership in manga than there is male. At least it seems to be. But I was gonna say no, because those are specifically tailored to go after these people, like a more female oriented book.
Yeah,
It's designed to go after these like women, and these women also crafted in a way to draw in women that wouldn't normally read a comic book, and this would probably be the only book that they would read. Only time they're interested in anything else.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because it's like what we dealt with when we tabled at Small Press Expo.
Right.
It was like there's a specific trend going on that's targeting a specific base of people that we weren't even aware was a thing. And it's like, wow, all these people are completely walking by us because we don't have A, B, and C on the table. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you a hard time because like my go-to thing is indie books. So
Well, yeah, because you like those.
so yeah, thanks, jackass.
I thought we were going to go to Sizzle after we finished doing this podcast.
There's a Red Lobster here. Come on.
But there was that one girl on YouTube that had they had her channel where she talked about comic books and stuff, and I didn't
Linkara.
Huh?
Linkara.
Who?
It's not a girl.
She was attractive. She was attractive. She had blue hair. So I will say this: I do approach things in a certain way. If you are a very attractive female that reads comic books or has a comic book, well, if you read comic books, you're very attractive. I don't really give a shit. If you have a YouTube show, or any kind of like entertainment based like show or something where you do anything comic related, I'm immediately skeptical, because we see this even with like the gaming, the video games and stuff, where like a lot of these people aren't really gamers, they're not really comic book readers, but they know that they're pretty and people will watch it because they're pretty, and so they'll get up there and they'll talk a little bit of comic stuff or whatever, but the people that are watching them are not really interested in seeing how much they really know about comic books or how well they play a video game. It's more about seeing them and being able to say, oh, here's like a really hot girl who likes the same kind of thing I do, and so like, there's hope for me yet, or like maybe one day if I meet her at a convention, like we can both talk comic books and video games. Like, yeah, no, that their interest goes, it's just as shallow as what you're seeing there. There's no depth to it. Just like we see the female cosplayers that only cosplaying like the really popular like character at the time.
Yeah, and much as we were saying, there can be genuine female fans, it's just not as common.
Right.
And, like, that's an objective fact. It's just not as common. It's like there can be guys who are shallow, superficial fake fans. It's just not as common as, like, the Instagram models who are just doing it because they know it's going to get clicks.
Right. And you know them because when you ask them a question about that particular character, they can't tell you shit.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
and I hate that because, and it's not because they're female. I hate anybody that comes in there to be a part of my interest, but you're not actually being a part of it. You're just a tourist.
Yeah, yeah.
Like no.
Marla, you tourist, I need this.
I was gonna. But in that case, then he just didn't recognize that she was like him.
Oh,
but right. It's like you're a tourist. You're not really here because you're a part of this. You're here because it's something easy for you to do.
Yeah, because it's cheaper than a movie and there's free coffee.
Exactly.
So we're gonna keep going with this. We're just gonna keep making Fight Club references.
And I don't like that because I don't do that to your interest, whatever it is.
Right.
I let you have that. Let me have this.
Yeah, it's just frustrating when, like, it's very obvious to me anyway when there's like.
And when I say let you have, not like, oh, a man's letting me have. I'm like, I don't get in your shit because it's not of interest to me. So don't get in my shit just because something that's easy for you to do.
Right. Like, it's pretty easy for me to tell, like, when somebody's coming from a place of genuine passion and knowledge versus when they're just, like, reading cue cards.
Right.
And it's like, oh, Batman is a total badass. He has a gadget for every occasion. It's like this.
There is a person, and I'm not, fuck, I'm going to call him out because it's not like you're ever going to read, like, listen to my
Dude,
show.
start YouTube beef.
There is a woman on, God, I think it's IGN's, like, YouTube channel.
Oh, what's her name and address?
I don't know her name because
What her address is.
whenever she's because whenever she does something, I don't watch it because I watched it a couple of times and it's obviously and again, if you're a TV personality like that, where your job is to read the news, or whether it's upcoming gaming news or whatever, then fine, that's what your job is. But don't present yourself as if you are, a part of this particular culture. Mm-hmm. And like, when you like, you add that little flourish on there, like, ooh, I can't wait to check that out. Like, come on, fuck you, fuck you. Yeah. You have no interest in checking that out. And that's the thing. Like, they present themselves as if that this and that they have genuine interest in. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, I get it. You're attractive and you're on this thing to be attractive. Because I mean, not because that's the only thing that women are good for, but when you're talking about a visual medium, right? That's why they pick certain people to be attractive. It's like, because like that's what we want to. That's what we want to present on TV. We only want attractive people. But again, you can do that, but just don't add in that extra little bit, like you actually care if this is something that you're into.
Right. Like, don't patronize me.
Right. That pisses me off. And I can't stand, so I don't watch any of their stuff because I just don't, I don't feel it. But then that same token though, if I see a guy doing that shit and I'm like, he's doing his whole thing and then he's like, it's like, yeah, because, when those two get together, it's like, whoo, you know which one I'm talking about that time. And I'm like, oh, fuck you, dude. Fuck you.
Yeah. Like, I have no patience for fake fans, no matter what their gender is.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not sexist. I hate everyone equally.
Exactly. And why can't we just do that? How come we just can't hate everyone equally?
I mean, I do.
Since when did that become a crime? It's like, it's wrong to hate. No, it's just wrong to hate, like, just certain people. If we can just hate everyone equally, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like, I just have to have a really good reason to hate you. And it's like, and this is it. It's a really genuine reason to hate you. You're in my shit and you don't belong here, so get the fuck out. But that came out the wrong way because that's it's like, well, the black guy said it, so like, no, that's not what I meant. But no, I mean, like, it's you don't fake it and pretend that you're a part of something that you're not, because you're not doing yourself any favors, and you're certainly not doing me any favors.
Right, right.
And if you really think that less of me, that you can fake it, and I'm going to buy into it, then not only have you like really insulted me, but you kind of pissed me off too.
Yeah, like, nobody wants to feel pandered to.
Exactly. Well, except for people that are begging for change.
Well, they want to be panhandled.
No, they are panhandlers. They want to be pandered to.
That's true.
And panda bears.
That they want to be pandaed to.
Oh, yes. Damn it. See, I just like, that's why I need you here to like keep straightening up. Like, what was it like that? No, pandas want to be got it. Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, like, but as far as like women in like comic books, dude, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Because part of it is very selfish thing, is because, for the longest time, it's always been me as a guy getting, like bullied for liking comic books. So now, oh, hey.
Now these damn women can get bullied for a change.
Exactly. Like people that are like so against gay marriage. It's like, wait, like 25% of the people that are married don't want to be married, and they hate marriage. And then, the other like 25 are recently divorced. So, yeah, you're not doing them any favors. I mean, if anything, you're really helping them out in a sense, by saying like, no, you don't want to get married. They just don't realize you're helping them out. Being like, no, just stay like you are. Just don't get married. You can be open, like, we're in a relationship, but don't get married, because when you get married, shit just goes down. And I try to warn you. You want to, you always want to say, I want to teach you from my experience, so you have to experience it on your own. But no, hey, let them go ahead and learn out the hard way that marriage fucking sucks.
Jonan Vasquez, the creator of Invader Zim and Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, Squee, all the cool stuff. When somebody asked him publicly for his opinion on gay marriage, his response was, I find it wonderful that now twice as many people can get divorced as before. It's like, great. It's a perfect response.
Yeah, I'm like, hey. It's like, I mean, but the thing is, you weren't doing that because you really were trying to help them. It was like you were doing it because you're like, I don't think you should. But like, no, if you say like, no, look, dude, the reason I'm against is because look, you don't want to be married, and I've been married. It sucks. You don't want to be married. And it's not what you're thinking. It's not be like, oh, now we're married. Our love is twice as strong. No. Now your arguments are twice as long. You know, that's what it really is.
And now you don't just get to go home and cool your heels. You just kind of live with it
because they're there.
But I mean, that I've come across some really good comics by female creators, and
oh yeah,
like it's cool seeing more of a prevalence with that. It's like Meredith Gran did the webcomic Octopus Pie. You've
talked about that a couple times.
Yeah, I love Octopus Pie. It is such a good webcomic. Danielle Corsetto did Girls with Slingshots. That's another really good one. Going back to the whole girly indie comic thing, like I typically really tend to gravitate more towards their art style because they do have that old 90s indie style. So like it typically does appeal to me a lot more.
And see, I mean, the idea of I never took for comics. I never took the approach that like women weren't as good as in making comics or doing anything in comics. I mean, was it Marie Severin that drew like Hulk and stuff like that back in the 60s and stuff? She was damn good.
Oh yeah.
And was it Nicola Scott that is art? She did Earth 2 for DC. She's damn good. I love her stuff. She's amazing. Yep. But the thing, she's an amazing artist. I don't really give a shit that she's a woman. She's an amazing artist.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I like I will say though, it does give me kind of a bit of a extra smile that it's a woman drawing in like that particular style.
Yeah. It's refreshing
and,
in a way. Yeah.
Really with the like the muscles and the dynamic poses and stuff like that, which. It's because I'm not used to seeing it, and I like seeing that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, that's really kind of cool. But she's a damn good artist too.
Yeah.
But you think about that in so I grew up reading X-Men, which Walker and I talked about, and the X-Men were edited by Louise Simonson, so. And she's a damn good editor. And then she was doing some writing on her own and wrote a bunch of stuff. She wrote X Factor and stuff like that. I loved X Factor.
Wasn't she at Heroes one year? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
You must think somebody, because if Louis Simonson had been at Heroes, I would have lost my shit. Because if she was there, then Walt probably would have been there too, and I would have just lost my shit.
Oh, yeah. I must have been thinking of somebody else.
But, I mean, and then Ann Nocenti, Joe Duffy, was it? I'm trying to think now, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but Ann Nocenti, I think she created Longshot. It was one of my favorite characters. I like Longshot. I always have a hard time with his origin and story is just so twisted and stuff. But I always like Longshot as a character. I always think he's pretty cool. So, but she created him, and she was also an editor for X-Men and stuff, and wrote a bunch of things. She wrote Daredevil for a while. Like she actually in the New 52, she wrote Green Arrow.
Yeah.
So I mean. I never once looked at me like, oh, is a woman writing this? No, thank you. I'm like, I'm reading a fucking comic book, man. Like, I'm going to read the story and then I'm going to decide whether or not I like the story. And I mean, even the thing.
One of the first female, sorry to interrupt.
No.
But yeah, one of the first female artists who really stood out to me was actually in the old Archie Sonic comics. It was Dawn Best. And that was kind of a big deal because it was all just a bunch of dudes who worked on the Sonic comics. So, when I saw that, I was like, wow, she's actually better than the majority of the guys here. She brought a lot of new stuff to it. It's kind of hard with the Sonic style to bring something fresh to the table.
Right.
So, the fact that she could do that and still make it uniquely hers was like, wow, damn, that's pretty impressive.
And the thing is, when I was, growing up and looking at comics, and again, Walker and I talked about this, the only thing I really looked at was primarily was did John Byrne draw this? Because that was the only name I was really told back in the day. It was like, John Byrne, he's great. And I looked at John Byrne, I was like, yeah, John Byrne is great. That's how I felt back then. And I would like, that was really the only name I knew in comic books. So when I picked up a comic book and I read it, I really didn't pay very much attention to the artist was, or who the writer was. As I read more and grew up, and I started looking, I was like, oh, like here's the, like, I really like this particular artist. I like this particular writer. And, but back then when I was reading stuff that was being written by women, I never knew, but I also didn't care.
Right.
And now granted, at that time, you also didn't have a lot of female artists, back then. But again, I didn't know and I didn't really care. All I really cared about was, is the art cool? Do I like it? And then is the story good? I mean, and even then, it's weird because back then when I first started reading comics, I was younger. It didn't really matter to me about the art either. Like there were some artists I just write, like I can't get into that one right at all. But I didn't really care that much about the art where I was like, oh, this art is ugly. And I was like, I didn't. It wasn't until I got older that I started going, oh, this art is ugly. In some ways, I wish I could go back to that other part where it's like, hey, it's art, it's telling the story.
Right, yeah. Where you just appreciate everything.
You're right. So looking at it from that aspect, right? Like, women in comic books? Okay, yes, please. Yeah. Because, why? Because there are people writing comics or people drawing comics. I don't give a shit if it's a man or a woman. As long as you're writing and drawing something that I like and find mentally and visually appealing, then I'm cool in the gang.
Yeah, it's like content is content. As long as it's good, then, knock yourself out.
Right. And then, like stuff like women and like gamers and stuff, like, what, as long as you're a genuine gamer, I don't give a shit. I mean, like, what was like women go ruin the game? How? So here's a woman a girl is playing Call of Duty and she's getting more kills than you. Why? You think she's flashing her tits to like the opposing video game characters, and then they're like stopping like I'm the women's and then so no, like no. She's just better at it than you and has absolutely nothing to do with her being a woman.
Yeah. You
just want to find an excuse for sucking and losing to her.
Yeah. It's totally fine.
Right. And the thing is, for some reason, you think that you have a problem with losing to her because she's a woman, but you'd have a problem losing to this guy like over and over and over again. Like, why? Because what? Because you're not supposed to be here. Like, who says she's not supposed to be here? Like, what? I mean, like, where are you getting all that from? Oh, well, because people say that, comic books are all about like women with big tits and all and big asses and blah 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 and guys with huge pecs and it's all made for men. Well, no, it's not. And then video games are all about violence and killing and stuff like that, so it's all for men. Hey, you know what? Not sure if you heard about like a couple people like Eileen Wuornos, but women like to kill too. Yeah. So that's why women like, hey, I want to be a soldier. I want to join the military. Like, why? Well, because I kind of like wanting to kill people. I mean, legally speaking. I mean, now granted, I'm hoping I won't have to, but if you're telling me that, I could pop off a few rounds and knock off some people and you're going to pay me for it, well, shit, why not? I mean, so don't tell me that these things are just for men. It's like, so you shouldn't get upset when women want to get out there and they want to play and they want to be better than you.
Yeah, and from the perspective of like Let's Plays and streaming, it's like, again, just like with comics, there are fake male fans.
Yes.
Who are only in it because there's money in streaming. So, like, you can bitch and piss and moan about, she's just streaming because there's money in it. She's not an actual video game fan. It's like, okay, well, what about Boogie? What about Wings of Redemption? These fuckers always talk about how much they hate video games. They just don't want to get a real job.
Right.
And you tip them. So, kind of like the whole reality show thing, it's like, you're the one feeding into this bad behavior. So, it's like, just because there are some fake female fans doesn't delegitimize the genre and doesn't delegitimize the real streamers who are actually skilled players.
And that's the thing. It's like, so what is it you're really kind of like upset about? And I'm not gonna open up that Gamergate and all that kind of stuff. But like, what is it that you're really upset about? Mm-hmm. Is it because you want to feel that you're somehow better than like a woman or this woman or whatever? Like, why? Like, but you're okay losing to a guy with like, well, yeah, because we're more on par. again, that's that misconception of like what makes us different. There really is nothing that makes us different except for you making things different.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that goes back to like everything where you want to say like, you know, a black person, a white person, like, well, we're really different. Like, oh, you know, we're one and the same, you know, like a German and a Jewish person, you know, like it's like we're, you know, basically any race that basically hated another race, you find out, oh, guess what? We're one and the same.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
like the same
exactly.
things, we hate the same things, and in some instances, but
You know, except Italians, but
well, yeah, I mean, well, but they know that though because hey, I'm Italian, I know all about like people, you know, hating people. So, hey, what you think you were the first person to hate somebody? No,
there's something about racial oppression. I mean,
yeah, and, you know, Italians, yeah, we started hating people first, like. We were the first people to start. Like, hey, we don't like them. We didn't know anything about them. We just didn't like them.
you know, have I told you my theory about Irish people? Because you know the Irish were persecuted.
Yes,
That's
I heard about that.
Yeah, and
Like,
you know
like
that's
last year or something.
that's very often brought up by white people who are desperately trying to prove that they're not racist. It's like you know the Irish were persecuted too, but
Yeah, but they're not now. You guys got over that shit real quick.
it's like oh wait a minute, these guys are white. It's cool. But you know, my theory is they were persecuted because people just couldn't take them seriously with the accent, so they'd be like, "Oh no, Lord Jesus, you got to help me, my family's starving." It's like, Phil, get a load of this guy. listen, I'm gonna kill this cow, okay? And listen to him. Oh no, don't kill me, cow! Oh Lord Jesus, my family's starving. No, we need the milk. Oh no.
You know, really why the Irish were persecuted is that you know the Irish came over to America. And like you're like, oh man, look at those people. It's like God, it's like their hair is all like red. It's like oh, it's like you know my wife's got kind of like this like this kind of like strawberry blonde thing going on, but it's not like that. Not like you know like oh looks like that's horrible. It's like look how pale they are. It's like that's disgusting. And they're sitting around drinking one day, and it's like. I don't know, man. That girl with the red hair is pale. I mean, I didn't want to say anything, but damn, she's just kind of hot, man.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, and it's all curly and shit too. It's not just me, right? It's you, right? And then it's like, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of like, I mean, because like it's like their skin looks really like smooth, like almost like marble, which we haven't actually discovered yet. And it's like, and you know, it's like it's different, especially better than these brown and black haired bitches we got over here. And then, like, you know, they were at home with their wives one day, and they're like, oh, God, the O'Shaughnessy's are coming over. And it's like, oh, God. Last time they came over, I had those red hairs all over the place. Like, oh, God. It was like, it's like little strands of, like yarn all over the place. It was disgusting. I hated it. And it's like, I don't think they're that bad or anything. On that white, good God, look at her. She's like a reverse chalkboard. She doesn't look that bad. What? She's not that bad. Oh my God, you like her, don't you? You do, don't you? I knew it. You like her. It's like, I bet you want to fuck her, don't you? Like, I just said she's not that bad. I mean, she's not that bad for him. No, you didn't say for him. You said she's not that bad. I mean, that for you could take her, right? So what? So, like, you don't like me anymore? You always say, like, oh, yeah, you know, like, my dark-haired beauty. But now, what you want? You want this, like, I don't know, like, this, like, reflective, like,
It's translucent
thing. It's like, oh. And then that's where it started. It's like, you know what? If you want to continue to live in this house, you'll hate them. And you'll tell your friends to hate them. And then the next day, the guy's sitting there and he's like, yeah, it's like, I saw like that Miriam chick the other day. No, why? There's no way. He was like, and I got a really good look at her, and she's fucking ugly, isn't she? Yeah, she's ugly. Yeah, my wife and I think that she's ugly. Oh, okay, yeah.
I just love that in
Yeah.
our women's appreciation episode, it's like, yeah, the root of Irish racism, it's jealous wives.
Right. Well, because you know, like they say, like the red-headed people are, you know, they're I don't want to say a minority, but you know, they're rare. You know, it's like, you know, it's like getting a shiny in a Pokemon pack. Like, holy shit! It's like, I got a redhead! So I'm just saying. So yeah, so as soon as someone showed an interest in that was different, I'm betting that's what happened. And then then that's how all that thing started with the whole like, oh, we hate them, and it's like,
thought it
yeah,
had something
you're
to
gonna
do
press
with,
them.
Yeah, I thought it had something to do with their Catholicism.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I thought it was like they had specific things that they needed to do to practice their faith.
Because it's in the Bible right here. Jesus hates redheads. Mary Magdalene was a redhead. She was a whore.
She had 7 demons in her. How many demons do you have in you, you ginger?
That's not me. That's not me. That's not how I feel. That's in the Bible.
You got a problem with it, take it up with God.
That's what Jesus said. Who am I? Who am I to go against the way of our Lord?
Jeez, God Almighty, we're going to hell.
Wow. What are we even fucking talking about? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, we're really off the rails. This is our 8th podcast in a row without stopping.
So getting back to the whole thing, right? The whole thing about why you were talking about like the Irish being
We were talking about women initially,
right, but then you do about like why people always bring up like, well, the Irish were oppressed too.
Yeah.
But the thing, but it's like when you really get down to it, I mean, it's like it's the same thing with with white women. I mean, so when the slave ships came over there to Africa and they started loading them up and everything, these people had never seen a white person before, and of course their first impression was like, hey, these guys are a little bit different, and I'm a little scared of them because they're a little bit different. They're like the anti-us, but you know what? Our God says that, we should treat everybody, equally until they decide to, oh shit, no, yeah, they are the anti-us. Like, run! And then of course,
get out of there!
And then of course, they got, kidnapped, and, those who survived were men-made slaves. And then next thing you know, you've seen this white girl, and then you're like, I've never seen that before. These guys are assholes, but something about her, it's different. It's like, and then next thing you're like, Ngako. No, I don't find her attractive.
Right.
They're whipping us. Like, no, I don't want to be a house ninja. I don't. But I'm just saying, if it was offered to me, I'd probably take it. Like, being out in the sun is kind of hard. My back, my back. It's like, no, she needed. It's like she needed help moving the Shifero. Yeah, I don't know what one is, but she needed help moving it. That's why I was in her bedroom. Well, why didn't I come back down immediately? Because she wanted me to move some other stuff. I don't know. And then she wanted me to check out a mole she had to see if it was cancerous. And then next thing you know, it's like, you better hate that white she-devil bitch. And it's like, I do hate that white she-devil bitch, But don't you think, though, that a really good way of us getting back at them for kidnapping us would be if I just fucked the shit out of her, right? Don't you think that'd be like a really good? No. I'm not saying that when the people ride through here for us to fight back and that cut his head off. Like, I'm all about joining Catcher Freeman's brigade, right? I'm all about that. But I'm just saying, like, who knows when he's going to show up, right? No one gave us a time, and we ain't getting no invitations to that. So I'm saying, like,
it's not love, it's sport fuck.
Right? Yeah, it's like I'm doing this to just show. So if they were like, okay. You know what, Mtumbe, right? I'm gonna have to kill you because, well, I just have to. And be like, all right, but fuck your wife, and you can't take that back. You just
can't unfuck your wife.
That's right, can't unfuck your wife. So, and I'm just gonna tell you, I didn't come on to her. She came on to me. She threatened to put me in the hot box if I didn't fuck her. No, wait, I'm sorry. No, wait. She told me to get in the hot box, and that meant to fuck her. That's, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You got the noose and everything, and the dog's there. Sometimes I get a little confused. But anyway, so yeah. And my wife was totally ow, bitch. and yes, in doing that, I did disrespect my wife, and it was the wrong thing to do. But so yeah, I mean, because let's face it. Yes, I'm talking about how petty women can be, but no more petty than guys. Because what are we talking about right here? We're talking about guys going, "You don't belong in comic books."
Right,
You know,
right.
he's like, "You don't know anything about an Xbox." You know, you're like, what? He's like, right? The first game you ever played was probably like Hello Kitty, like go shopping. It's like, I've been playing like video games since like the GameCube came out. Like what? Wait, would you just start playing when? Yeah. You don't know nothing about nothing. You don't belong in this. So, yeah, guys can be just as petty as women can. We just pick the different things to be petty about because those are things that we care about because that's what society tells us to care about. So I've got to guard this because it's supposed to be the manly thing. Women aren't allowed because they're going to ruin it by shit. How they run it again?
By being there, man.
Oh, yeah, by being there, yeah. Even though the 80s video games were all about like going and rescuing that woman because she means so much to me.
Yeah.
And because I love her so much.
Well, I mean, that's supposed to be a boyfriend-free girl that you can build into a sweetheart from the ground up.
I mean,
She's not an equal.
okay, so I'm just gonna put it out there. Here I am. I'm just minding my own business. Me and my girl, we're out on a date and everything. It's like, oh, this is nice. And yeah, it is nice. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes this big ass fucking gorilla. I'm like, holy shit! Like, Mighty Joe Young ain't got nothing on him. And he grabs her and goes, like, my girl and just goes run up, like, under his arm. And he's like, I got your woman, bitch. And it's like, he gives me like the Heisman, bam, and then he takes off, right? So I'm like, okay, there's no way I'm gonna let like some fucking ape like steal my gorillas aren't apes, they're different. I was like, fuck you, I don't give a shit. You stole my girl. I'm not gonna be PC about it, all right? So I go chasing after him, and he goes into some kind of factory. So still, I'm like, okay, I was like, that's fine. He's climbing up on shit. He's a monkey. Monkeys like to climb on stuff, right? Makes perfect sense. Then he starts picking up like barrels and throwing them, but not throwing them at me directly. He's throwing them so they'll roll down his arm. So he understands that shit rolls back and forth down things. I'm like, that's a pretty smart ass monkey. And he's trying to, and not only that, but like he's not continuing to run away with. He's like, whoa, wait, I realize I can't get away until I kill this guy, right? Yeah. Like at some point, I'm like, okay, wait a minute, super like not super, but more intelligent like than your average like gorilla, because he's not going like Donkey Kong still girl, Donkey Kong pretty gorilla, Donkey Kong fuck her long,
Donkey Kong sucky love long
right.
time.
Like no, he doesn't have like the gorilla power glove that he's talking through. I'm like, okay, look, Penelope or whatever your name is, like
Polly,
whatever. I mean,
you're a fake gamer, Turk. You're a fake fan.
I never bothered to learn her name. I didn't give a shit, man.
Man, are you kidding? She's the hottest character in Mario.
I didn't need to know her name. I'm a guy. I didn't need to know a woman's name. So, like Donkey Kong learned her name. I'm running around picking up her purse and shit and everything. Oh, she dropped this. But I'm like, at some point, I'd be like, okay, look, if this had been our third date, I'd be all about fighting a giant monkey for you. But seeing that this is our first date, and he's more intelligent than your average monkey. He's throwing barrels and shit at me. And then, okay, like the first time I got up there, and then he grabbed you, like he was like, nope, you didn't win, and he runs away. So he's got a strong vested interest in you that I have no idea why. And I'm kind of thinking that maybe you did a little something
he wants to get that monkey dick wet, dude.
Yeah, but like, why her? Like, why is he so interested in her? Like,
she's hot.
Maybe you let him on a little bit there. Like I remember like last week you asked me if I wanted to go to the zoo, and I was like, I can't. I got a lot of work to do. Like these crabs aren't going to unplunge themselves from the sewer. And I was like, why don't you just go without me? And then
she learned the gorilla sign language.
And then a week later, like a gorilla just happens to like kidnap you. Coincidence? I don't think so. And so I went through the first part, and then like I gotta go and I gotta make these girders fall to like save you from him, and he still gets away, even though like he fell and cracked his head open, which I was like, oh shit, Peter's gonna be all on my ass, right? And you're not gonna believe like a giant gorilla stole my girlfriend. I had to chase him into this construction site to like try to get her back. No, but then he like wakes up like bitch thought I was dead, surprise, and then kidnapped you again, and now he's like throwing like pogo sticks and shit at me, and I gotta jump like, no, I'm leaving, I'm done. Again, remember, this is just our first date, like, or second date, like, no, I can't. I mean, yeah, maybe he just loves you more than I do. I just, so just like, hey, Donkey Kong, whatever gorilla, whatever your name is, like, dude, you win, I'm out. I mean, whatever, man. So yeah, enjoy. And so I mean, and then what happened? What happened after Donkey Kong came out?
Universal tried to sue Nintendo.
After Donkey Kong came out, you had Donkey Kong Jr. Where the fuck did that come from? Never seen a female. In Miss Pac-Man, we see Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man get together, and then they have a baby Pac-Man. So you had the Pac-Man Jr. video game.
Yeah.
But we have Donkey Kong and Pauline. Then we had Donkey Kong Jr. But we never see Mrs. Donkey Kong. And Donkey Kong Jr., right? What happened? Like, not Mario, but a guy has trapped Donkey Kong, and his son's got to rescue him, right? So yeah, it's like. Okay, first off, I was okay with it because I was like, I'm not gonna go that far for her. But then everybody started teasing me, like, it's like, yeah, so, yeah, I was gonna hook you up with my sister, but I was like, no, I just decided to go ahead and just hook her straight up with one of the monkeys at the zoo because, I mean, like you would fight for her, right? It was like, yeah, I'm not sure if you can hang out with us, if you're gonna lose your woman to a gorilla. I mean. I don't know if you really deserve to be in plumbing school anymore.
Yeah, man. I mean, the whole tag team cuck was one thing, but the gorilla cuck, that's a bit much.
Right. I mean, and the thing is, he lost his job as a plumber. Mario didn't do any plumbing after that. What did he do? He sat there, he went back to his apartment and shot into a lot of drugs. Next thing you know, ooh, I'm in the land of mushrooms, right? Yeah, that's all he does now. Because he lost his woman to Donkey Kong, all he does is get high. He just gets high, and his brother Luigi tries to like help him out, be like, "Look, Mario, come on, you gotta get your life back together." The only way you communicate with him is like get high with him. It's some kind of like weird Inception thing. He's like, well, maybe if I help him beat this magical land, I can then bring him back. But no, they just takes you to another magical land, and another magical land.
They just go to like the local pet store and step on the turtles.
Yeah,
like, oh my god, what are you doing?
So I mean, yeah, so Donkey Kong. But anyway. But I mean, like, what? Like, why can't women be in games? Why is that somehow against the rules? Why does that bother you so much? Because again, we made this for guys, or that's what people want you to believe. But that's not how it always was. Mm-hmm. That's not how it should be. Because there's a lot of great female game designers out there. I mean, so like, if you're okay with playing a game made by a woman, then, I mean, can't they also play the game? I mean, I'd like to think so. I mean, I don't see you running around wearing Secret. It's strong enough for you, but you don't wear it, right? So, I mean, so if that's the case, then like, oh, but the woman made it, but they're not allowed to play it. No, it's like, they can do both.
Yeah.
So, again, but where's the misconception come from? It's all from this, like, to me, it's all commercialization. Yeah. It's for a way for me to sell things to you. It's like, oh, when men have their thing, which is video games. Right, so now women, you need your own thing too. Well, maybe I want to play video. No, you can't. That's for the men. It's like, okay. And I think, and to me, that's where it all comes from.
It's really weird though, because like, once upon a time, you would think that like, fitness and muscle, like bodybuilding, stuff like that, would be kind of like exclusively a quote masculine thing, but you really don't see that stigma there. They're like, anytime I'm at the gym, there's just as many women as there are men, and so I wonder if this hostility towards women in like the nerd culture stuff with like comics and movies and video games is that they can't really, they're not really inclined to compete as far as like physical stuff goes. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, okay, well, we'll let women have the fitness and the bodybuilding and stuff, and women can do just as much weightlifting as men, but we've at least got our video games. And now it's like, oh, but they're intruding on that. This is sacred. So I wonder if part of it's that, because like I never see any like any like hostility or oh you're not welcome kind of attitude towards women at the gym.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we've talked before about that, and like men and women, and I'm like, okay, what we were talking earlier about, like fitness chicks. Love me some fitness chicks, man. The only thing I've got to say that I dislike about fitness chicks, right, is people always make that joke about skipping leg day, right? It's like it's like, oh, someone skipped leg day, and it seems like it went from being a joke to being like so I don't fall within the categories of that joke,
right?
And I see it more because I look at more fitness chicks than men, is that their thighs are huge. They're so overdeveloped. I'm like, and it's like their arms are not as developed as their thighs are, and their calves. I'm like, and their legs are, and they're so massive. I'm like, it looks unnatural to the rest of their body, and I'm like, why? It's because you want to keep everything proportionate,
right?
But then I see someone like, and they'll even make comment like, I don't skip leg day. I'm like, maybe you should have, because like you're so disproportionate now, and like it's too much. And again, I see it more with women than guys because I don't really look at fitness guys. I mean, like a guy with a bunch of muscles and stuff like that. I mean, shit, I don't give a shit. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen like plenty of women who are not interested in developing the arm muscles at all, and so that does tend to kind of hurt the proportional development.
Yeah, but I mean,
a chick with biceps can be.
Yeah, I mean, women that goes to the whole like women can do, like they can do what men can do. I mean, that's it. They can work out, and they can be just as strong and toned. Now, again, your body type for who you are, as far as your gender goes, may prevent you from like being as broad-shouldered and stuff like that, because that's just not how your body is built. But is that going to stop you from being able to tone every muscle in your body to be able to like push yourself to be able to like lift the maximum weight for your body type? Not like I want to be able to outlift a man, but outlift, to lift for your body type, and you're like, wait, kind of like a boxer, like, just take like a regular guy and be like, okay, and now you're going to go up against it. Like, no, you are the middleweight champion.
Right. Right.
This guy's the heavyweight champion. I'm not going to put the two of you together because obviously it's not right.
He will kill you.
Right. No, I'm sure you'll get in a couple good shots, but that's all it'll be is good shots.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think women are no more superior than men, and they're no more, what's the word I'm looking for? Inferior.
Yeah.
Than men. Like, they're just as equal. It really just depends on what you want to do with your life.
Right.
And what you're capable of doing. Because, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people that want to do some shit, but you're not capable of that because you're just too damn stupid.
Yeah.
And that goes both ways.
Like, never in my life with a movie, a comic, or a video game has, whether it's been good or bad, been determined by the gender.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, this is really good. Oh, it's based off of that individual's talent. It has nothing to do with whether it's a man or a woman.
I will say this, though. The only time that I've ever made any kind of decision when it comes to like picking something out, as far as like, like where gender was like the sole decision, for that, porn.
Really?
I generally look for women on the covers of my porn movies.
Oh, on the covers,
yes.
Okay.
in the magazines.
I thought you were going to be talking about like directing or producing, because there are some female porn directors, and that's never been a decision maker for me.
Yeah, no, but it's like I have to see women on the cover. Like they has to have women in it. That's my main thing. So that's the one time when I'm like, but I discriminate for women against men. But like, no, it's like how many guys were in this movie? 3. How many women? 5. Okay, great. Yeah, I'll watch that.
What about Fudanari? Isn't that the best of both worlds?
Oh, you talking about the Katoys?
Yeah.
No.
I think Katoys are kind of different. Fudanari are like kind of a fantasy thing where it's just like a fully chick with a dick.
Yeah, no,
man.
No, because
You're awfully close-minded.
I am. Because so I kind of went off on my mom, jokingly, but also kind of mildly serious, but more joking, because she was going to come over one day and she wanted to cook some meal, whatever. Because she does that occasionally because she lives by herself, so she doesn't make like a big meal for just herself. So if she really wants to, she's like, I want to really cook like a really big meal because she likes to cook, then she might come over, because I work late and stuff, and so she might want to come over. So she brought some asparagus, and she ended up not making it, and it was sitting in my fridge because she didn't take it home. And so I was like, man, something in my fridge stinks, right? Like, what is it? Something in my fridge stinks. So I looked and I was like, oh my God, it's this asparagus. I was like, what the hell is this doing in my fridge? And she was like, well, one day I was going to come over, I was going to cook and everything, and I was going to make asparagus. I was like, yeah, but I don't like asparagus. I don't eat asparagus. I don't eat asparagus. So what was asparagus doing in my fridge? Well, I was going to cook it and I was going to eat it. I was like, well, then you can cook it at your house and you can eat it at your house. But there's no reason why it had to come over to my house. The meal I was going to cook, I was going to cook that for me. You could have cooked that for you at your house. And it's like, you brought asparagus to my house, and then I'm just gonna tell you, like, riding asparagus again. I wasn't gonna eat it. I knew it was in there. I wouldn't even look at it. You have like celebrity blindness. I have actor blindness. I have like asparagus blindness. Like, I don't see it because it's not something I want to eat. So I was like, then it wasn't until I was trying to what stinks? I'm like, oh my God. This, rotten asparagus smells horrible, and I was like, wait, no, this never should come over to my house. I wouldn't have to smell the smell if you hadn't brought this over to my house. You did this, you. Right. And I was like, no, why? And I was going off on her. I'm like, no, you don't bring that over here. It's not something I like, So yes, going back to your Futanaris and everything, dicks aren't something I like. Yeah, something I like. I don't want to watch that. I mean.
Okay, well, you heard it here first. People, Turk is bigoted.
I am.
I've never watched Futanari.
I will not. I will not watch any kind of adult film that does not turn me on sexually. I refuse to. And if you're going to say that makes me a bigot, then fine. I am. I'm saying it's a rule of mine. Maybe other people don't abide by this rule, right, when it comes to their adult entertainment. But for me, I refuse to watch or in any way participate in any kind of adult entertainment that I cannot jack off to.
I think you're missing out on some interesting entertainment.
That is the Turk182 seal of approval.
If you look at bloopers and stuff, there's some whack shit, and you're definitely not going to be able to jerk off to it. But you learn an awful lot about what humans can do.
I actually don't want to watch porn bloopers.
You really don't. It's terrible.
Yeah. that would be like watching stuntman bloopers. It's like, oh, here he goes again for the motorcycle trick, and oh, bam, oh. Now look at the way that arm just spaghetti noodles there.
I honestly think that has more value than most porn bloopers. I mean, some of it's just like people slipping and falling because there's lube everywhere, and that's funny. But then you get stuff where it's just traumatic, and it's like, oh. Well, that ain't coming out of that hole ever. Okay,
so here's the only way I would possibly watch porn bloopers is if they put it to Benny Hill music. Then I would watch that. That would just be fun. And then put it like at 1.5 speed.
Yeah.
So then I would watch that.
The absolute funniest porn blooper I ever saw was when the cameraman was trying to come in up close for the money shot. Mm-hmm. And the guy just nutted right over the girl's head into the cameraman's face.
Oh.
And you have never heard a more blood-curdling scream in your life. Get a towel! Get a towel!
So, that's why, if I'm ever going to shoot any kind of adult film, I'm going to hire a Chinese film crew. I learned that from Jackie Chan. Because if you know from watching Jackie Chan movies and watching the making of Jackie Chan movies,
I've read his book.
Huh?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, I've read his book.
So when it comes to filming that, the number one priority in filming, if an accident happens, is what?
Keep going.
Well, that and protect the camera.
Protect the camera.
Protect
yeah,
the camera. so if the guy were actually missed them, as long as he doesn't get on the camera, like that cameraman will turn and he will take the shot, like the Secret Service agent taking a bullet for the president. No! I mean, like I die, and he would like jump in front of it, and like smack, and then like, but the camera will be okay, and that's really what I want. I don't give a shit about whether you got spooged on. Right? Did it get on the camera? Because we can wipe you down. You can go take a shower. But, I mean, I've got to unscrew this camera and make sure that they didn't seep into any corners or whatever or something like that. So yeah, that's why I'm hiring all Chinese film crew because, again, what's the number one rule? Protect the camera.
The camera, okay. So, we are an hour and 10 minutes into this.
So and we've kind of really gone off there about different things, but
we really did.
But the thing is, though, that we're talking about a bunch of other stuff because when it boils down to, what more can we say other than there really is nothing different except for the difference that you create that really isn't different at all.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about like individual person different. We're talking about like, they're different because they're a woman, and I'm like, yeah, okay, she pees sitting down, right? But she doesn't have to. And you don't want to see her pee standing up.
God, no.
So yeah, that's okay. And it's like, oh, and she's got boobs. Yeah, you like those things, remember? You want her to have those.
Yeah, those are pretty awesome.
What's not right is you having boobs. And then when you tell her, I love it when we rub our boobs against each other, because she doesn't like that. She doesn't. I'm just gonna tell you right now. Because that happens to her all day. When she's not wearing a bra, her boobs rub against each other all day. She's like, I'm not really into that. So doing it with you? No. In fact, she doesn't want that at all. Your pecs? Maybe. But you're about 20 pounds more than peck. And I'm not talking about you like as far as your overall weight. I'm talking about just right there in that tit to peck ratio area there.
Yeah, there's a very fine line between pecs and tits.
Yes. So what differences are there really? The only differences are the differences that you create. Mm-hmm. And yes, you can have a female boss and she can be a bitch. Yes, she can. But that's only because a male boss that acts the same way is called an asshole.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference there. Is if you're a bitch or an asshole.
I've had male bosses who were bitches.
Yeah, that's true. But when you call a male boss a bitch, it's because you're a weak little piece of shit. You call a female boss a bitch, it's because she is, like a demanding, asshole.
But yeah, so this was our women appreciation post where we delved into pornography and racism.
Right.
Yet again.
And that's one of the great things about women is that women can be for pornography or against it. Women can be racist or they cannot be racist because, again, they're just like everybody else. Women, just like everybody else.
Ding!
Hey, that's going to be my new t-shirt. Like one of the more you know. Women, part of the human race. Ding, 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 ding.
Can we make those t-shirts?
Yes, we can.
You gotta start a merch store.
And I know some of you women out there that are listening are kind of offended. And you know what? That's because you're just like everybody else. Yeah, there are other people that are offended too.
You're entitled to that. You're entitled to be offended. You're entitled to listen to another podcast.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the whole point of it is
and aren't you proud that I didn't resort to my usual thing about how to deal with complaints with us?
Well, we haven't stopped recording yet, so yeah, I'm not gonna pat you on the back just yet because I know you. As soon as I do, then you'll be like, "Aha! I got the pat. You can't take it back now." It's like, no, you can't get no exit dap.
All right, man, I'm gonna bounce.
So that's the whole thing about it. Like we meandered a little bit and talked about this and talked about that, but that's because really for me there's really nothing different about it. And there were some areas where I'm like, wow, that's so awesome. A woman is doing that. Just because I'm not used to seeing it, and I'm glad that they're doing it.
Right,
not because I'm like, hey, it's about time. It's just like, wow, I'm not used to seeing it, and like I'm so happy to see it because it's. I never thought this needed to be anything that was exclusive.
Right, right.
Only exception is the men's bathroom. And even then, I'm not really strong on that issue. I mean, you can break those rules. I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me. I mean, what are you going to do? You know, come up behind me like, oh, that's how you pee in the urinal? Urinal, huh? You kind of suck there. You know, it's like, I mean, really, I don't really give a shit. You know?
Whatever.
Yeah, because again, I mean, people are people. That's it. I judge people based off their individual actions and nothing else. Mm-hmm. So, but again, yeah, my porn completely different.
Anyway, I've been Acomi, everybody.
And I have been Turk182.
I like women.
Mm-hmm. I like willies. I like willies. No, wait.
Willies, willies. I love willies, willies.
But yeah, and I wish I could say more, just like with the other one. I wish I could say more, but I really can't. I mean, that's just it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I think we said plenty.
Yeah. Probably more than they would have wanted us to.
Probably.
You could have just stopped when you said women are just like men, and we would have been happy. Everything else, the other 50 minutes of that stuff, completely unnecessary.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, I think when people were asking, hey, why don't you guys do episodes about women? I don't think that this is what they had in mind, but.
Well, you know what? It's because I'm not a woman, so I really don't know what women want. I don't know how women want to be appreciated as women.
Fucking women, how do they work?
Exactly, right? That should have been in the song. I tell you what, that's the biggest thing I don't understand. So, yeah. So if you think we were completely off the mark, well, sorry, that's just because I don't really know much about women. You guys are a mystery. You ever heard of the feminine mystique? I didn't create that. You know, you guys did. You always want to be so mysterious. Yeah. Can't let a guy know what's on your mind.
If you're super upset about it, then just calm down. Stop being irrational.
Right.
Stop being controlled by your emotions.
Right. We know how you women are. I mean, I like the idea that women are so controlled by their emotions. Like, isn't everybody controlled by their emotions?
Right.
You know, it's like, honey, aren't you angry? Not at all, honey. I'm beating this man because I'm perfectly happy. So he didn't make you mad at all? No. In fact, actually beating him is kind of soothing. Like, no, people are controlled by their emotions. That's why when I cut that guy off, he flipped me off in traffic and started screaming stuff about my mother that I don't know how he knew that was, but I mean...
Who told you that?
I never met him before, but apparently he knows her quite well, or at least he claims to, because he was controlled by his emotion. That emotion was love.
Love for your mother.
That's right. At least that's what he said when he was like, and I don't know if she would be into it, but according to him, because I'm so bad at driving, he would love to fuck my mom in the ass. That's what he said as he was flipping me off. Yeah. You know, so, I mean, I can only assume that
your mother is a fine lady. I have nothing but respect for her.
Right, that's what he said. And I'm like, so men are controlled by their emotions too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we just don't like to admit it.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, so, yeah. That was our episode on the misconception of men and women.
It was.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you didn't, well, there's probably some reasons why that I don't know. I don't understand because I don't see a difference. All I see is love.
Yup. Bye, everybody.
Oh, Zang, yo. I'm sorry, I was still waiting because I was expecting one more thing to come out of you for you to like just slip it in, but like fucking bitches and be like, oh, I knew it. I knew you were gonna say something.
Did you hear what I paused?
Alright there, folks, that was Our Moms Think We're Funny. Let's give them a hand.